Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for taking the time to be out here on the webinar. And a few weeks ago, I was talking about how cold it was. Well, now we have gorgeous weather. It was up to 77 yesterday. I had the top down on my car, enjoying the drive. And so looks like we're getting close to spring, even though it's just the middle of March. But invariably, we'll have a cold snap and have a spring snow, and then it'll be time for summer. So anyway, it's really getting to be nice here. Today I'm going to cover the expenses module. Now I know this is not exciting stuff, but I've been in business a long time. I know that there are things that just drove me crazy as a business owner, and one of the things that I didn't like doing is collecting all the receipts. Where did I put all the mileage? I have it in a spreadsheet. Did I just have to write it down on paper? How do I get all that stuff together? Because taxes is probably one of our, unless you're a real nut for some of this stuff and a CPA or something like that, taxes is not our funnest thing to do. Not collecting the information, not gathering it together so your accountant can do it, not any of it. Right? So if we can simplify that for you, that's part of Advanced Agent Services, and the expense module is included in the price, just like the Contact Manager is. And so when we go through these are things that we call the front office, because invariably a lot of companies have back offices, but no one really has front office software. So we've built in a number of things. One of the things you won't need is really invoicing, but that's built into the system as well. But for expenses, that's a different story. You guys go to lunches and travel to seminars and workshops and, meeting clients and buying dinners and all, supplies and all of that stuff. You may even travel, and unless you have the way you have, depending on how you've got your company set up and the expenditures for the cars and the mileage and all that stuff, is just hard to keep track of. So we've built an expenses module, and that is the button up here at the top. There's green buttons across the top on the dashboard, and one of them is the expenses module. It's very simple to get into. Simply click that button. It opens up another tab. I'm going to expand that so you can see it a little bit better, but essentially it's two sections. The first one is you can add a new expense or mileage record by just simply putting in information here. The bottom part is how you generate reports, and the reports are a way to go in and duplicate or do recurring debts. So I'll show you both of those. So let's start out with a destination. This is in Burbank, so let's just do Bob's Big Boy Restaurant in Burbank. Harry and I used to work at Disney, and so we would on occasion visit. Maybe Harry can pipe in here maybe, but that may be the original Bob's Big Boy. And it was just a luncheon, okay? So you can put whatever you want in there for a purpose or materials. If you go to office supply place, this was paper, this was ink, this was a new printer, this was a new laptop, whatever it is, so you can track and keep information here so you really know what your expenditures are. A lot of times we'll go through and go, I have no idea what I bought there. You got the receipt, right, and it says something, but a lot of times it'll just say general merchandise. Unless you made notes on that, you're not going to know. So categories. Now here's what's really cool about this system. You can categorize things, and it learns based on you and your categories. So I think this resets at the beginning of the year, so it starts over. So what happens is, if a category is not here, you can add a new category by simply clicking add category, and let's just say, I don't know, lunch meetings. Okay, I click Save, and it will put that into my drop-down now, whereas before it wasn't. Now it's the last item on that drop-down. Next, we have online mileage and directions from your office. Now, sometimes you may go meet with a client, and you need directions. So if you'll put that in here, you put in their full address, and in this case, I just put down the name of a restaurant because it's in the system, not my system, but in Google, and you click office. What this will do is it will take your office information that you have in your profile, combine that with Bob's Big Boy Restaurant in Burbank, and it will open up another tab for Google, and Google will then tell you the address and the route and the time and the distance. So here it's 12 minutes. It's 0.6 miles from Warner Brothers Studio over to this, because that's what I've got in as the default, and over, and here you go. And so it gives you that map. So if you're putting in an address of somewhere you're getting ready to meet with, or their office or whatever, it gives you that mileage. So here's 0.6 miles. I come back over here and put in 6 miles. That's one way. So that's just, now it's a round trip, so I can click the RT, and it will just simply double that. So even if we're really lazy and you don't want to double it in your head, just put in one way, click RT, and it'll double it for you. Now I can also indicate, one of the new things since the last time was I can indicate how I paid for this, in this case luncheon. I can do cash, a debit card, a credit card, check, PayPal, or another type of, and I'm not sure what that other might be, but I gave you the option. And so if you just did cash, if you did a check, you could put in a check number. So I put in, it was check 3352. And then it was on this date. Now, if it's not today, you can change it. You can simply click the little calendar. It'll bring up the calendar, and let's say it was a couple weeks ago. And so I go back, and let's say it was on the 19th of February. Okay, so it'll put that in, or you can just type that in. Say it was the 20th, and you can type that in. If you default it, and we put in the MMDDYY for our Canadian friends who use a different date format, the system worked. We can only do one format, so that we put that in for you. It says YY. You can put in 2/20/15, and it will automatically do the Y2K thing and update that for you. If you leave the year blank and just type in 2/21, it will automatically assume this year. So you can see that it takes care of all that for you. And then the total expenditure, say it was $23.59. Okay, then you simply click Submit Expense. It will then send that back across the server into the database. It's tied to your account, and then here's basically the confirmation. And if you've got another expenditure, you can just simply click Add Another Expense, or you can Finish. If you do Finish, it'll close this. If you do Add Another Expense, it will take you back to the expenses module. All right. Now, one of the things you'll see here is that lunch meetings has now been added to that drop down automatically. So it builds and it learns as you go through this. Also, you can come down here and generate reports. So let's look at, I'm not even sure, we've got a number of reports you can do that are kind of canned. It'll figure out what the starting and ending date is. All records start at 2000, which is obviously pretty much way before the system was implemented, but you could go back. You could go back to any year that you want. All records goes from basically 1/1/2000 to today. This month year to date, or this month to date MTD is 3/1 to 3/12. You could do last month. You could do this quarter, which is January to the 31st, and then you could do last quarter, which would put you in. Oh, we didn't make that jump. Should have been 10/1/14 to 12/31/14. So you can put those in. You can do this year to date. You can do last year to date. And so you can do any kind of combination. If you don't like any of those, just choose your dates and put on what you want. So if you only want to know what it was for a couple of weeks. Let's say it was 2010-15 to 2028. If you do 229, it's going to tell you it's invalid. It'll recorrect it even on leap year, for leap year, so it checks all that stuff for you. So then you can just choose and put in whatever date you want. Then the categories are everything that you have put in, and so you can do everything. You can say, I just want to do this one category. So if I want to do demonstration from between those two dates, now I'm going to create the report. Now there may not be anything in that date frame, and there wasn't. Okay, so let's just do all. There's probably something in there, I would guess. Here we go. So there's a supply, lunch meeting, more supplies, all right? So if you want to do last year, and I'm not sure what all we have here, so let's just go ahead and create that report. There's only one. Let's do this year then. This year to date. Create report, and here we have all of the expenditures that are in. Now once you have this, it gives you numbers. It shows you the payment type, it gives you the expense, and here we see $299.10, and we have 50 miles that has been driven. So this will keep tabs and total your mileage for the year, your total expenditures. You can categorize them, so if you wanted to do all of the supplies, let's just do all records for not sales, supplies. I can create that expense report, and it gives me the destination, the purpose, all the mileage, expense, and how I paid for something. So you can see a total of $553.11 was an expenditure for the total for supplies, and I drove 400 miles, and at 56 cents a mile that you get to deduct for mileage, that can add up. Especially if you're doing and traveling around a lot doing conferences. So that's the power of this generating those reports. Now if you have something like, let's say, let's just create a new one here just so you can see that. Let's say I have Vonage is my phone service, and I don't have a category here, so we're going to add a new category, and that's just going to be operations expenses. Save that, add that to the thing. There's no mileage. I pay from this basically from my PayPal account, and it happens typically on the I don't know, the 25th of the month. So we have 1/25 is the first one, and the total expenditure is I don't know, $14.95 or $99. Okay, I update that, and it now goes in. When it comes back here, add another expense. It's going to reload these the categories. So now you'll see we have a new one, operations expenses. So now when I come down to the bottom and we're going to generate records, I'm just going to go to operations expenses because I want to update this as a recurring expense. So when I edit it, it comes up, and then we have two buttons. If you've got something that, let's say you go to Office Max a lot, you'll just hit duplicate. It will zero out the amount expended, and it will put in today's date. Then you put in, you can change what the purpose was, what you purchased. It leaves all the other stuff the same. Mileage stays the same because typically it's the same from your office, right? And then total expended, you put in that, and then you put in the date, and you can update it. In recurring, it just simply leaves everything except for the date, and it will take the date and add basically a 30 days to it, or adds to the next month for it to go in. So we have recurring, and it just changes it to 2/25. Now if you want to change that date, it highlights it. Just go ahead and change it. You can do that. So again, very quick, easy, and efficient. I update the expense, and let's go ahead and do one more. So now I have two expenditures. Before I had one, and I do recurring 323, and I'm done. So you could essentially do this for the whole year. You could wait to the end of the year and go through it, or once a month just catch up all the things that are recurring expenses. If we want to do, let's say there's supplies, and I went and got something. So we'll just pull up all the supplies. I go to Burbank, and let's say I needed new ink. So we had duplicate. It was $42.73 in ink, and I did that last week. And I bought ink cartridges. Okay, and I update. Now when you do a new report for this year to date, supplies, and here we go. Here's the ink cartridges I just entered. So you can see this is very simple. It's very easy to use. It gives you the power of creating your own categories. If you end up with too many categories this year, next year when you start in, they will all be reset, and you can just put in the categories. So as you learn to use this and you decide things need to be better categorized, you can. Now in this case, let's say that we're going to update because I didn't put in how I paid it, and you want that added in. You could say it was a check, it was a debit card, okay, and then I just update it, and it'll update all of these automatically. So now when I do the reports, now I have it'll be this year to date, and I'm doing supplies, and I hit create a report, and now I have under payment type each of those, so you can quickly and efficiently update that. Again, here's my totals and the mileage, and so you just take and put these receipts somewhere safe. Put them in a shoebox, put them in an envelope, put them in a file folder, whatever you want to do, but now you have them entered into the system, and so that's how you do your expenses. When you're finished, you can simply click close, and it takes you back to the dashboard, which stays open all the time. It just was in another tab. So let me go in right now and open up the lines, and if there's any questions, we'll take some questions here on the expense module. Hi guys. Any questions about what I just covered?
Yeah, is there a limit on the dollar amount? For example, some expenses that are so expensive, like what we pay to advanced agent services?
Yeah. That I know of. I mean, it could be. I think you can put $100,000 expenditures in here.
Okay. I'm just giving you a hard time.
So anyway, but yeah, you can put quite a bit in there, and it does track to the dollar, so, or to the down to the penny. So you can put that in and do what you want there. Other questions? Do you see how this can help? I mean, it's streamlining, again, your operations. There's enough for you guys to do, and so anything that can help streamline and make your life easier, those are the things that we want as Advanced Agent Services to do. Now, we focus a lot on the analysis, which has been streamlined a lot over previous and alternative ways to generate numbers to show clients, and then of course our work on the policy manager, which will help your clients take over and do the things that they should be doing in order to maintain, manage, and update the system so that it frees you up to do the other things. If there's no other questions on this, then I'm going to go ahead and end the recording here.